It is early on a Tuesday morning. Welcome into the San Francisco 49ers Report. Some breaking news to get to, which happened late last night into the wee hours of the morning. Robert Saleh, Niners defensive coordinator, now the former Niners defensive coordinator for the second time. He is leaving San Francisco to take the head coaching job with the Tennessee Titans. And when Robert Saleh came back to the Niners going into the 2025 season after he was my top candidate to replace Nick Sorensen, we knew all along, all throughout this year, that this moment was a possibility. On the show last night, we talked about this scenario that if the Tennessee Titans let Robert Saleh out of the building, Jeff Hafley, the former Packers defensive coordinator who took the Miami Dolphins head coaching job, was also one of the finalists, but he got hired by the Dolphins. So the Titans were zeroing in on Saleh and Matt Nagy that if Saleh left that building, he was going to interview today with the Arizona Cardinals. And so Tennessee looking to replace Brian Callahan, that head coaching hire to replace Mike Vrabel ended up being a disaster. They don't let Saleh out of the building, and now Saleh is a head coach of Tennessee, and he's going to take on Liam Coen twice a year in the AFC South. That's going to end up being a pretty spicy rivalry. Before we talk about all of this, what it means for the Niners, my top Robert Saleh replacements, why I think this is a good get for Saleh, and why I think he went to Tennessee. This is why you subscribe to the channel. Anytime there's breaking news, I'm going to give it to you right here on the 49ers Report, and we like to be ahead of the curve. There were some rumblings that maybe Saleh could get hired by the Titans, and so yesterday night, we talked about this, and of course, I woke up to some notifications this morning and saw that it was official, so let's talk about that right now. I know a lot of fans are going to be upset by Saleh leaving the Niners. He has become a beloved coach for San Francisco under Kyle Shanahan. Him and Kyle are extremely tight. He is beloved inside that building by John Lynch, Jed York, and everybody because he's got that type of pull and personality. And a lot of fans are probably wondering, Chase, why would Robert Saleh leave? He had success here from 2017 to 2020. It didn't work out with the New York Jets. He comes back in 2025, and the Niners win 12 games. They win a playoff game. And even after losing Nick Bosa and Fred Warner, Robert Saleh still had success as the defensive coordinator for this team. Chase, it's a great situation. Why would he leave the Niners? I think that's the fan in you, right? And I totally understand that. But Robert Saleh is a competitive guy. Robert Saleh is driven. Robert Saleh clearly wanted to become a head coach again. Robert Saleh is a competitive dude. And when you think about being a coach at the NFL level, you want to be at the top of the industry. Like many people out there who have that competitive drive within them. You want to be at the top of your respective industry, your profession. Me in broadcasting, I love where I'm at right now. The 49ers Report has reached 6 million people over the last 28 days. We're closing in on nearly 200,000 subscribers. It is a massive platform reaching millions of people every single month, year long. And I get to talk about the Niners with a great fan base and talk about a historic organization. It's awesome. I'm the vice president of content strategy at Chat Sports. I've helped us grow as a company from 8 employees to 40 plus, from 3 studios to 15, 16 in 2 different cities in America. It's been great, right? And I am driven by personal, professional success. My mom passed away in 2018, hardest worker I've ever known. And she instilled that in me, right? For me in broadcasting, I want to be at the top of my profession. I'd be lying to you if I told you I didn't want to be a Colin Cowherd someday, because that's what I've been shooting toward. Dan Patrick, Scott Van Pelt, Rich Eisen, somebody to that level, right? And so when you're a coach in the NFL and you've gotten that taste of being a head coach, and Robert Saleh's tenure with the Jets didn't work out, he's probably very motivated to get a head coaching job once again and to prove that he can be a head coach in this league. And now he's getting that second opportunity with the Tennessee Titans. And I do think that Saleh can become a successful coach. I do worry about Titans ownership for sure. Saleh did not have good ownership while with the New York Jets. Woody Johnson is known to be one of the worst owners in the NFL. Robert Saleh could never get the quarterback for his organization while with the Jets. The GM, Joe Douglas, didn't do a terrific job, although there was some good talent acquisition. But this is a Titans ownership group that doesn't really know what they're doing. I mean, they traded away A.J. Brown. They let go and fired Mike Vrabel. You see what he's doing with the New England Patriots, year one, making it to the AFC Championship game. And they're one win away from making it to the Super Bowl in the first year of the Mike Vrabel regime. And so I do worry about that with Salah. But there are some pluses of this job. It's one of 32 in the world, of course. Brand new state-of-the-art stadium is going to be opening up, not this year, but in 2027, right in Nashville. Nashville is a booming, booming city, one of the fastest growing cities in the United States of America. Anybody who's been to Broadway, you've had a great time, I imagine. Good music, good food, good people. The city is a lot of fun. My dad lives in the Nashville area. I remember going to that city all the way back in 2013, 2014 to see how much it's grown from then to now. It's wild. I mean, there are skyscrapers just popping up all the time. And it's not like the media market is a media market with pressure like New York. It's kind of more low key. So you get the great big city that is booming with lots to do. It's a thriving metropolis, but then you don't get some of the pressure that you would get if you were the head coach of maybe the Niners in media market number one in New York with the Jets. And so I think there are some pluses there. You're playing in a very winnable division in the AFC South. Texans defense is great, but they have question marks at quarterback. The Jaguars had a great year this past year. Liam Coen did a hell of a job. He's in the running for coach of the year, but the history of that franchise isn't great. Indianapolis Colts, they have questions. And so it is a winnable division in going to the AFC South and going to the Titans. The Titans also have the most cap space in the NFL going into this offseason. $93 million in cap room. It's probably going to get to $100+ million when the Titans do some contract restructures and they make some moves and let some players go. So you're well equipped in that regard. You have some solid defensive pieces, some solid offensive pieces. You have the number 4 overall pick. And one of the big things I think that Salah probably likes about this job, he had to deal with Zach Wilson with the Jets because Aaron Rodgers popped his Achilles 4 plays into the year. And outside of those two quarterbacks, Robert Saleh was dealing with slop. Now he has Cam Ward. Year 2 of a 5-year rookie contract. I thought he showed some nice flashes this year. Cam Ward at Miami last year was a really good quarterback. Before that, Washington State. Before that, Incarnate Ward. And I do think that Cam Ward can become a pretty good player. And Robert Saleh can grow with a young quarterback, an opportunity that he never had with the Jets. Who were the Titans getting? If you're a Titans fan watching this show, I know Robert Saleh well on this program. You're getting a culture builder. You're getting a great communicator. You're getting a really good defensive mind who adapts to the modern nuances and trends of offensive football. Robert Saleh is a guy who players absolutely love. From Nick Bosa to Fred Warner to Diamador Lenore to his fellow coaches in Kyle Shanahan. And scheme-wise, I do like what Saleh does. And given what he does with his scheme, it brings the best out of players. Some quarters coverage, cover 4. He will use pattern matching, zone match principles where defenders can read routes in quarterbacks' eyes. When you play zone, you can make average players good to very good, and you can maintain really good players still playing at that level. He's going to blend in some cover 2 on early down, some man coverage from time to time. He'll disguise some blitzes. He'll show blitzes and drop guys into coverage. He'll keep concepts relatively simple to allow players to not have to think all that much, to play fast and aggressively without overthinking. What he did this year was just a phenomenal coaching job. You lose Nick Bosa, you lose Fred Warner, you're dead last in the NFL in sacks, and you still found a way to make it work. You had to play a lot of rookies on the defensive side of the ball, and those rookies got better from the start of the year until the end of the year. You also lost Mykel Williams, who was a great run defender for San Francisco. And there were, of course, holes, and the defense got a little bit leaky, but as far as points per game and in the red zone, they were pretty damn good. You can give up yards. How many points are you giving up? So, in a way here, I do think that the Titans are trying to make up for losing Mike Vrabel. Mike Vrabel, defensive guy, culture setter, good-looking dude, good communicator, high energy, good developer of defensive talent. Robert Saleh is all of those things. And I'm interested to see who Saleh brings in as his offensive coordinator. He's very tight with Mike McDaniel from his Niners days with Mike McDaniel. Mike McDaniel has been interviewing for a flurry of head coaching jobs and offensive coordinator jobs. Mike McDaniel with an opportunity to team up with Cam Ward, that could entice him a little bit. Wouldn't be surprised if Saleh tries to bring Clay Kubiak, the current Niners offensive coordinator, with him, because Clay Kubiak right now doesn't call plays for the Niners. He can call plays for Tennessee. Clay Kubiak was a part of the first round of interviews for the Pittsburgh Steelers head coaching job to replace Mike Tomlin. Kyle Shanahan did say the other day he wouldn't let Clay Kubiak leave for a lateral job, meaning going from being an offensive coordinator with the Niners to being an offensive coordinator with another team. But how can he not allow Clay Kubiak to follow Saleh and actually call plays? Because I imagine Kyle Shanahan wants to see Saleh have success. And if Clay Kubiak can help him do that, let him go. Kyle Shanahan calls plays for the Niners anyway. And of course, we'll see if Saleh brings some other Niners coaches with him, given the familiarity there. As for where the Niners go from here, I talked about this yesterday on X, Instagram, and I talked about this on the show. My top Robert Saleh replacements, Brian Flores, Jim Schwartz, Raheem Morris. So Brian Flores, of course, has been the defensive coordinator for the Minnesota Vikings over the last couple of years. He is interviewing with the Pittsburgh Steelers, the Las Vegas Raiders showing interest in him as a head coaching candidate, but his contract is up with the Minnesota Vikings. And so if he doesn't get a head coaching job, Brian Flores is a coaching free agent, one of the top defensive minds in football. He is superb as a defensive coordinator. And I think that he can be a pretty good head coach once again, although doesn't have the best reputation from what happened with the Miami Dolphins. He severed some relationships there. And of course, we know about his beef with Tua Tagovailoa, but he kind of ended up being right. Tua got benched at the end of last year by Mike McDaniel. But if you have Kyle Shanahan calling your offense, Brian Flores calling your defense, you're going to be in a great spot. And Brian Flores actually might be an upgrade from Robert Saleh. Slight, but might be an upgrade. That would be a terrific, aggressive coaching hire for Kyle Shanahan to get Brian Flores in here, because he is just terrific. Jim Schwartz interviewing for the Browns head coaching job, interviewing for other DC jobs. Jim Schwartz, of course, has been the defensive coordinator the last few years under Kevin Stefanski, but Stefanski got that Atlanta Falcons head coaching job. The thing about Jim Schwartz, one of the top defensive coordinators in football, maybe above Robert Saleh, he has always run the wide nine. Kyle Shanahan wants to continue running the wide nine, and all the personnel that they've brought in is 4-3 base defense, wide nine like. So Jim Schwartz would make a ton of sense for the Niners. You have Raheem Morris, who Kyle Shanahan has said, if you were a general manager, Raheem Morris would be one of his favorite head coaching candidates. The thing with Morris, he got a head coaching job when he was so young with Tampa Bay. Didn't work out. Got a second head coaching job with the Atlanta Falcons. Lasted 2 years. Didn't work out. Is he going to get a third opportunity to be a head coach? I'm not sure. So Jim Schwartz, Raheem Morris, they could be with this team for a few years. Brian Flores, he has success with the Niners, might dip after the 2026 season. Raheem Morris was under Sean McVay. Raheem Morris runs a 4-3. Raheem Morris is close with Kyle Shanahan. Raheem Morris is a great defensive coordinator as well. So those three guys, by far and away, my favorite candidates. Some people might say, don't forget about Gus Bradley, internal promotion. And we've discussed Gus Bradley plenty of times here on the show. Gus Bradley was a great defensive coordinator for the Legion of Boom Seahawks. He got a head coaching job with the Jacksonville Jaguars, got fired there. He brought Robert Saleh with him in, what was that, 2015, 2016, for Saleh to be the linebackers coach with the Jags. Kyle Shanahan hired Saleh from the Jags to be the defensive coordinator when Kyle took the Niners head coaching job in 2017. But Gus Bradley of late, he got let go by the Raiders. He got let go by the Colts. And there was another job that he had of late where it didn't work out for him when he was the defensive coordinator. And I know that the Niners brought him in to maybe take over for Saleh in the event that Saleh would leave. And he knows this scheme. He'd run the same defense. There's familiarity there. The players like him. I just think he would be an extremely mid-hire. It would be easier for the Niners because they wouldn't have to do an external look and hiring process to try to find their next DC, but go after the best defensive coordinator candidate. And Gus Bradley is not the best DC candidate that the Niners can target. Another name that I've thrown around a lot over the last couple of years, if the Niners wanted to go kind of the route of like how Kyle promoted DeMeco Ryans once Salah left, is KJ Wright. But with a young defense, with a lot of rookies now who are going to be going into year two, the Niners figure to draft more rookies in the 2026 draft. I don't know if you want a young defensive coordinator who's never called plays before being your defensive coordinator when next year I think the Niners are going to be a top 5 Super Bowl contender. I'd rather go after an experienced defensive coordinator. I will say this, on defense, I do think the Niners are in a good spot moving forward. I actually have less questions about the Niners defense than I do the Niners offense, because on offense, they're slow, they're not explosive, they're aging and getting old very quickly, and their offensive line stinks. But on defense, Fred Warner, Nick Bosa, Mykel Williams coming back, going to be massive. Alfred Collins, Upton Stout, CJ West showed really good signs as rookies. You have Diamador Lenore at one of the corner spots. I do think you need to address corner too, linebackers alongside Fred Warner, and safety, but there's existing talent there. But, of course, the big question now, who is going to be the defensive coordinator for the Niners as Robert Saleh is leaving for the Tennessee Titans? I'll be back a little bit later, probably looking at some of these defensive coordinator candidates in depth. Just want to do some more research on some of these guys, so be on the lookout for that here on the 49ers Report. But that is the breaking news late Monday into the wee hours of Tuesday morning. Robert Saleh taking the head coaching job with the Tennessee Titans. Congratulations to him. 2 stints as the Niners defensive coordinator, and he was just terrific for San Francisco. Don't forget to give me a follow on social media, X, Instagram, TikTok, at Chase_Senior. You can find me on Facebook as well, Chase Senior Chat Sports. I'm giving you so much Niners coverage here. I'm doing it over there as well.